Let's actually go through the facts. We're here today because the president abused his power. We're here today because he solicited foreign interference in the 2020 election. He had welcomed foreign interference as it relates to Russia. He solicited foreign interference on the White House lawn with China, and he did it with Ukraine. He's a serial solicitor. Let's go through the facts. Congress allocated $391 million in military aid on a bipartisan basis to Ukraine, currently at war with Russian-backed separatists in the east. Ukraine's a friend, Russia's a foe. Ukraine's a democracy, Russia's a dictatorship. The United States is probably the only thing standing between Vladimir Putin and Ukraine being completely overrun as part of Putin's fantasy to reconstruct the Soviet Union, which would be adverse to the national security interests of the United States. And every single fact witnessed before this Congress said so. You can't even dispute that. So we allocated aid on a bipartisan basis. But then the aid was withheld. So the American people deserve to figure out why. In February, there was a letter sent by the Trump administration saying, okay, the aid is on the way. But it never arrived. In April, he had a phone call, the president, with Zelensky. The word corruption was not mentioned once. And then, in May, the Department of Defense wrote to this Congress and said, all necessary preconditions for the receipt of the aid have been met by the new Ukrainian government, including the implementation of anti-corruption protocols. We have that letter. It was sent to you and it was sent to us. Then in July, on the 18th, at an Office of Management and Budget meeting, the aid was officially frozen at the direction of the president. Twice during the summer, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican majority leader, publicly stated he called the Trump administration, what happened to the aid? Mitch McConnell couldn't get a good answer because there was no good answer. Then on July 25th, there's another call between President Trump and President Zelensky. The word corruption is not mentioned once, but here's what was said. Zelensky talks about defense, and the immediate response is, do us a favor, though. And President Trump says, I need you to look into some things, not related to procurement of defense arms, but related to a wild conspiracy theory connected to the 2016 campaign, and also says, I want you to look into Joe Biden. And then what's interesting, since you think it was such a perfect call, he mentions Rudolph Giuliani. I'm looking at the transcript right now. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Why on an official call would the president mention Rudolph Giuliani? He's not an ambassador. He's not the Secretary of State. He's not a member of the diplomatic corps. He's President Trump's political enforcer. And then what happens? You said you want to talk about the facts. In August, Giuliani travels to Madrid and meets with the Ukrainian government as a follow-up to Trump saying to Ukraine, go meet with Giuliani. And then a statement is drafted about this phony investigation and sent to the Ukrainians. But what happens? In August, the whistleblower complaint is filed. Then on September 9th, the whistleblower complaint is made public to Congress. 2 days later, on September 11th, all of a sudden, the aid is released. Why was the aid released? Because the president was caught red-handed, trying to pressure a foreign government to target an American citizen. I yield back.